During the practice of meditation, yogi are observing Untitled 5 aggregates subject to clinging as impermanent, suffering, non-self, etc. There are 5 aggregates: metta aggregates, feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, volitional activities aggregates, and consciousness aggregates. So according to Abhidhamma, there are 52 mental states, and feeling is 1 mental factors, 1 aggregates. Sinya is 1 mental factors, 1 aggregates. The remaining 50 mental states are collectively called volitional formation aggregates. Because this group is headed by a mental factors called volition or chetana. Volition is the most significant mental factors in generating karma. And Buddha said, chetana, I called karma, I called chetana karma. So chetana is actually karma. This karma determines the ethical quality of our action. That means if it is a good karma or good sankhara, it is good action. If it is a bad karma, bad sankhara, it is a bad action. So depending on the quality of chetana, we determine if a consciousness is wholesome or unwholesome. Today, regarding karma, sankhara, or chetana, we have to listen the story of Sopa Buddha. In the previous life, Sopa Buddha acted disrespectfully to the Pichika Buddha. So he have done bad karma, bad sankhara. Because of this bad sankhara and bad karma, he had to go to hell, lower states, and he became a leper. And because of his kusala karma or wholesome sankhara, because he accumulated paramis enough to gain megaphala, after listening to the Buddha teaching, Buddha talk, respectfully, he practiced diligently, and he became a Sotapanna. Story is like this. During the time of our Lord Buddha, in the city of Rajagaha, there was a leper. His name was Sopa Buddha. Some may have heard this story many times, but listen again. Sopa Buddha was a leper. Since he had this leprosy, He was very poor. He had to beg for his food and others. And people shunned him. Also, he did not want to come into connect with other people, lest he offended these people. One day he saw a big crowd at a distance in the city. When he saw the big crowd, he thought, oh, there is a big crowd and there might be food distributed there. And I might get some food there. So he went to the crowd, and as he approached, he saw that there was no food being distributed. But just the crowd quietly listening to the preaching of the Lord Buddha. When he saw this, he thought to himself, oh, there is no food distributed there. But this Buddha Gautama is giving a Dhamma talk. I might as well listen to the Dhamma. So he took a place at the edge of the crowd and then listened to the Buddha preaching very respectfully. When Buddha preached the Dhamma, he always looked into the minds of those audience who were listening to their preaching. Buddha could examine the mental capacity of people. When they saw someone who is capable of understanding the preaching and who is capable of reaching enlightenment, and they would direct the preaching to that person as though they were preaching to that person only. So when Buddha surveyed the audience while he was giving the talk, he saw Soba Buddha. And with his wisdom, that he was capable of understanding the Dhamma and attaining enlightenment. Because Soba Buddha had accumulated paramis, perfection in the past, and so he was ready to get enlightenment. So Buddha directed his talk to Soba Buddha, and he taught about dana, charity, fast, good things about giving, and then later he taught about sila, keeping precepts, how good keeping precepts was, so on. And then he taught about the Sankharakkhanda, celestial realms, where people who practice charity and sila, moral precepts, are reborn and they enjoy their lives. After showing the pleasures enjoyed in the realms of devas, Buddha taught about the faultiness of sensual pleasures and degradation of sensual pleasures and corruption of sensual pleasures. So he taught bad things about sensual pleasures, and then he thought about the benefits of renouncing the sensual pleasures and renouncing the world. That is Nikama. Buddha taught in this order in order to prepare the mind of the listener. Here, Soba Buddha, while listening, Soba Buddha's mind became calm, clear, and receptive. When Buddha knew that he was ready, Buddha taught him the special teaching that is peculiar to the Buddhas. That means Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, Dukkha Sacca, the truth of suffering, Samudaya Sacca, the origin of suffering, Nirodha Sacca, the cessation of suffering, Magga Sacca, the path leading to the cessation of suffering. At the end of the talk, there arose in the minds of Soba Buddha the eyes of Dhamma, because Soba Buddha practiced accordingly. That means Soba Buddha accumulated Kusala Sankhara, Bhavana practice. So there arose in the minds of Soba Buddha the eyes of Dhamma, Dhammacakkhu. That means the understanding or realization of the Dhamma. That means Soba Buddha became enlightened as a Sotapanna. So we need to understand, when you listen, you have to listen respectfully and attentively. And when you practice, you need to practice seriously. Because of these Kusala Sankhara, Kusala Chetana, you can gain enlightenment. You can gain the Dhamma. There will come to you the eyes of Dhamma, Dhammacakkhu. And in this story, we need to understand Soba Buddha was very poor and he was so suffering. And then he have the samvega, sense of urgency, and he have a strong faith in the teaching. So he practiced seriously. So he attained enlightenment. When Soba Buddha became a Sotapanna, he was happy, and so he wanted to report his attainment to the Buddha. But he was afraid to go through the audience because he was a leper and people despised him. So he waited until the audience went away. And when he was going towards the Buddha, he was a few distance away from the Buddha. When he was going to the Buddha, Sakka, the kings of gods, approached Soba Buddha and told him, "Hey, Soba Buddha, you are a leper. You are very poor. Super Buddha, I will give you immeasurable wealth if you just say the Buddha is not the true Buddha. The Dharma is not Dharma. Sangha is not the Sangha. I have nothing to do with the Buddha. I have nothing to do with the Dharma. I have nothing to do with the Sangha. Just you say this. I will give you immense wealth. Sakka, the kings of gods, told Soba Buddha. Then Soba Buddha looked at Sakka and asked him, "Who are you?" Soba Buddha asked. And Sakka, the kings of gods, answered, "I'm Sakka, the kings of gods." And Soba Buddha said, "Andabala, you foolish man, you don't even deserve to talk to me because you are saying what is not fit to be said. I have realized the Dharma myself, and so I cannot be shaken away from this faith in the Buddha. I cannot be shaken away from this faith in the Dharma. I cannot be shaken away from this faith in the Sangha. And moreover, you call me a poor man, but I'm not a poor man. I possess the seven spiritual treasures. And those who possess the seven noble treasures, the noble ones do not call him a poor man." Soba Buddha said to the kings of gods. So Sakka, knowing that he could not shake Soba Buddha from his faith, went to the Buddha and reported to the Buddha his conversation with Soba Buddha. Then Buddha said to Sakka, "Even 100 or 1,000 of kings of gods like you cannot make Soba Buddha say Buddha is not the Buddha, Dhamma is not the Dhamma, Sangha is not the Sangha. You cannot make Soba Buddha like this. He is firmly established in the Buddha and the confidence in the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha." And Soba Buddha approached the Buddha and told him that he was very pleased with the teaching. The teaching was like opening his eyes, like uncovering something that is concealed, like lighting bright light in the darkness, so that those who have eyes can see. He proclaimed himself to be a disciple of the Buddha. So Buddha said to the Buddha, "Please regard me as a disciple who takes refuge in the Buddha, who take refuge in the Dhamma and Sangha, even at the risk of my life." And then he left. After a while, a cow with a young calf attacked Soba Buddha and killed him. So Soba Buddha died. When he died, the monks assembled and they went to the Buddha and asked him that the man who was gladdened by you and your Dhamma talk has now been killed by the cow. What might be his destination? What might be his future life? Then Buddha said, "Bhikkhus, Subhavura was eradicated. Subhavura has eradicated 3 sanyojanas, 3 factors. You know 3 sanyojana. When the person become Sotapanna, 3 sanyojana, Sakaya Detti, Vijigajja, Silabara, Pramasa. When the person becomes Sotapanna, with the attainment of the Sotapatti Mega, 3 sanyojana, 3 factors, self-illusion, doubt, belief in wrong habits and practice as a way to purification, all are abandoned, according to the Yatana Sutta. So these 3 sanyojana need to remember. Can you follow me? With the attainment of first path, with the attainment of first path, 3 sanyojanas, self-illusion, skeptical doubt, belief in wrong habits and practices as a way to purification are abandoned. With the attainment of first path, 3 sanyojanas, 3 factors, self-illusion, skeptical doubt, belief in wrong habits and practice as a way to purification are abandoned. So you practice meditation accordingly, and then you have no self-illusion. There's no I, no you, no me, no myself, etc. There's only Namarupa. There's Sakaya Detti is self-illusion. So long as we not attain Sotapanna, we have self-illusion that it is my eyes, it is my hand, it is my leg, etc. We have self-illusion. And when the yogi practiced meditation accordingly, and then he realized the Dhamma, and then he has unshakable faith in the Buddha, unshakable faith in the Dhamma and Sangha. No doubt about the triple gem. And then he believed this eightfold path is the right path. Other practices are wrong. The practice of Sila Samadhi Pinya, morality, concentration, and wisdom are right. Other practices are wrong. So you abandon belief in wrong habits and practice as a way to purification. Now, Subhabuddha eradicated 3 sanyojanas, Sakaya Detti, self-illusion, doubt in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and Silabhara Paramasa, belief in wrong habits and practice. So that means Subhabuddha has become a Sotapanna. He is not liable to fall away. He is not liable to fall down to the woeful states. Subhabuddha is assured, and he is bound for higher stages of enlightenment. So when Buddha said this, one of the monks asked, Bhante, how come this man who had the capability of attaining enlightenment was a leper and a poor man? So Buddha related the past story of Subhabuddha. So in long past, Subhabuddha was a rich man. Sometimes rich men, they are very proud. They are very proud at that past time. Subhabuddha was rich man and he have not good friends, so he don't know the Dhamma. So he might be very proud. In the city of Rajagaha. And when we went outside, he met Pichika Buddha. Pichika Buddha called Dagrasiki. Dagrasiki Pichika Buddha. Pichika Buddha, you translate what called Silent Buddha? Or Silent Buddha. His name was Dagrasiki. So when Pichika Buddha, Dagrasiki was going for alms round in the city, when he saw the Pichika Buddha, the rich man, Subhabuddha said, "Who is that leper?" You know, Pichika Buddha was not a leper. Pichika Buddha, Dagrasiki was with his robes, bowl, and his head shaved. So he saw him as a leper, and so who is this leper going around the city? Pichika Buddha went his way. When along his way, Pichika Buddha don't know you are rich or poor. He only just went on his way. And the rich man Subhabuddha, maybe he like respect to him. Pichika Buddha don't pay respect to any other person. Just went wrong for his alms. And Subhabuddha spat out and acted disrespectfully to the Pichika Buddha. So that is Akusala Sankhara, bad karma, or bad Sankhara. Bad Sankhara. As a result of that Akusala karma, Akusala Sankhara, unwholesome volition, he was reborn in hell for many, many years. Only just he done very, very little unwholesome karma, but he have to suffer many, many years in hell. And as a result of that bad karma or akusala sankhara or unwholesome volition, when he was reborn as a human being, he became a leper. Now he was reborn as a human being, not as a result of that karma. He was reborn as a human being as a result of another good karma he did in the past. But in that life, he became a leper that was as a result of that bad karma in the past. So Buddha exalted his monks not to do any evil, not to do any unwholesome sankhara, unwholesome chetana, to avoid suffering like this. So in this story, Subhabuddha said, I possessed some Ariyadana, 7 kinds of noble treasures. So we call them noble treasures. The first one is Saddha, faith or confidence in the Buddha, in the enlightenment of the Buddha. That means you have faith, you believe that Buddha was a real enlightened person. And Buddha was one who knew or understood what is to be understood in the world without outside help. And Buddha was the one who is endowed with wisdom, conduct, and so on. So if you become a Sotapanna, you know who is true Buddha. How do you know how do you know he is true Buddha or fake Buddha? How do you know? So you know in terms of 9 virtues of the Buddha. He is totally free from mental defilements, arham. He is fully enlightenment, one or not, etc. You can examine that Buddha have he is accomplished with 9 qualities or not. And also what is the true Dharma. You can examine in terms of 6 qualities of the Dharma. True Sangha, how do you know? How do you examine the Sangha true or fake? The Sangha Supatipanna, they practice to eradicate the mental defilements or not. Supatipanna, Ujupatipanna, they practice in correct way or not. You can examine the Sangha. So if you become a Sotapanna, you have strong faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And second treasure is sila, purity of moral conduct. Purity of moral conduct or keeping the precepts is also a noble treasure. Keeping the 5 precepts, not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconducts, not telling lies, and no intoxicant. Keeping these precepts is called noble treasures. It is precious for those who keep them. So these precepts are cherished by the noble ones. So when you take the precepts, you need to be happy. These precepts are 5 precepts, 8 precepts, not only 5 precepts, 8 precepts are cherished by the Buddha, Arahants, and noble ones. So Ariya Kanta Sila. Sila cherished by Ariya. And another treasure is Hiri and Uttapa. Moral shame, Hiri means shame in doing unwholesome act, shame in killing, shame in stealing, shame in sexual misconducts, and so on. Because of this moral shame, people refrain from breaking the rules, people refrain from killing living beings, people refrain from stealing what is not given, and so on. So this moral shame is also a noble treasures. It is a precious treasure for us so long as we possess this moral shame, we will abstain from doing what is wrong. If we do not possess it, then we will do what we like, and most of what we do will be akusala, a wholesome act. So moral shame is one of the wholesome qualities we should possess. Here it is called riches or treasure, or in Pali it is called dana. Dana is treasure. Then another treasure is moral fear, uttapa. Moral fear means not really fear, but it is fear of consequences of immoral act. Because if we do something wrong, first we will be censured by noble ones, and then we will experience the painful consequences of these immoral acts. Because we are afraid of these painful results, we refrain from doing immoral act. So this is also a treasure, uttapa. So these hiri and uttapa go together. When there is hiri, moral shame, there is uttapa, moral fear. And when there is uttapa, there is hiri. So moral shame and moral fear, these two are described in other discourses as protectors of the world. So long as beings or so long as people keep these two, moral shame and moral fear, our society will be in good shape. Once people lose either moral shame or moral fear or both, society will become contaminated. So these two are called Loka Pala Dhammas. Those qualities that protect the world from becoming immoral and so on. So these moral shame and moral fear are the treasures we should cherish. And another treasure is sutta, learning. Learning is also treasures. That learning or understanding the teaching of the Buddha. Sutta means Agama Sutta. Agama Sutta is the teaching. Buddha teachings are the technique that leads to gain happiness. So in the olden days, there were no books, and whatever you know from hearing at the talk of other people. So it is called Bahusutta or hearing. So that means knowledgeable about the teaching of the Buddha, both in Agama, theory, and Adhigama, practice. So that is the one noble treasure we should possess. You may acquire this treasure by listening the talk, reading the books, or by having discussion with other people, your Dhamma friends, and also by practicing what you understand. And another treasure is jaga. Jaga means giving away. It is like dana, you know, dana is giving. People are instructed not to be much attached to what they possess and also to share with other people what they have. And the last one is pinya, knowledge. Here, pinya does not mean just knowledge of anything, but here pinya is described as the knowledge of the rise and fall, knowledge of arising and disappearing of namarupa. So this pinya you get only when you practice vipassana meditation. So you practice vipassana meditation and you get one stage and you at one stage you see the objects you put your mind on like arising and disappearing. Any object that you take as an object comes and then goes away. When you see them clearly in your mind, you are said to possess this knowledge of rise and fall. This rise and fall of the Namarupa is true nature. This knowledge of rise and fall is described as leading to the exaltation of dukkha, exaltation of suffering. So this can lead to cessation of suffering, although there is a lower stage of vipassana knowledge. This understanding of rise and fall is very important. If we do not see the rise and fall of Namarupa, the true nature of the Namarupa, mind and matter, we will not see them as impermanence, as suffering, as non-self or out of our control. If we do not see the true nature, if we do not see these three characteristics, anicca, dukkha, and anatta, impermanence, suffering, and non-self, we will never get wearied with our mind and matter. If we do not become weary with mind and matter, we not want to get out of or to give up, to relinquish mind and matter. If we do not want to get out of mind and matter, we will not do anything to get out of them. So it is very important that a person has this understanding, the understanding of rise and fall of Namarupa through the practice of vipassana meditation. So if we possess this understanding of rise and fall of Namarupa, we are said to be those who have begun the practice of vipassana. In Pali, such a yogi is called Arada Vipassaka. Arada Vipassaka, Arada means a person has begun, who has made effort. Vipassaka means one who practices vipassana. So before yogis see rising and falling of Namarupa, he may not be called a person who has begun the practice of vipassana, because you understand vipassana. What means vipassana? Vipassana means seeing the three characteristics. Until you see the three characteristics, you are not in vipassana proper yet, but you are approaching to vipassana, you are getting nearer to vipassana. So we call it also vipassana practice. Strictly, only when yogi reach seeing the three characteristics, he or she can be called those who practice vipassana. So there is the last of these seven treasures. Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Jaga, Pinya, and Hiri and Uttapa. Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Jaga, Pinya, Hiri, Uttapa, seven treasures. So can you follow me? Seven noble treasures. Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Jaga, Pinya, Hiri, Uttapa. Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Jaga, Pinya, Hiri, Uttapa. So that is seven treasures. So in the 52 mental states, you can see the page number 1. Number 28 is Saddha, faith in the triple gem. Number 30 is Hiri, moral shame. Number 31, Ottapa, moral fear, fear of wrongdoings. And Jaga is 32, like Aloba is non-greed. You are giving, you are doing charity that is non-greed. 32, Aloba. And number 52 is Pinya, wisdom faculty. As some are in the beautiful manifesta, that is Sankharakkhanda. You are developing these noble treasures. You are developing these Sankhara. These yogis should try to possess. All of the yogi possess these seven treasures. And if you possess these seven noble treasures, you can say that you are not poor, although we may be poor in material things. We are not in spiritual matter. So it is good to understand that these qualities are called the treasures. These treasures are the real treasures and not the material things, because material treasures are common to dangers. That means material treasures can be burnt, material treasure can be washed away by water, material treasure can be taken over by the bad king. They can be taken away by those sons and daughters whom people don't like, and material treasures can be stolen. So the material things are common to these dangers, but these seven noble treasures are not common to this. They cannot be burnt, they cannot be stolen away, and so on. So long as yogi possess these treasures, yogis are rich, yogi are spiritually rich. and we look back and examine whether we possess these 7 things, so we can be pleased with ourselves that we have these treasures. Or if we do not have these treasure yet, then we should make effort to possess these treasures. So these are 7 spiritual treasures taught by the Buddha. Now there is one thing about the 7. Now 7 treasure is Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Jaga, Pinya, Hiri, Uttapa. We do not find sati among these 7. So there is no sati in these 7 treasures. In one book, in sub-commentary, these 7 are given Saddha, Sati, Hiri, Uttapa, Sutta, etc. So instead of Sila, Sati is given as a treasure. So following that, yogis are rich in Sati. You practice Satipatthana the whole day, the whole month, the whole 2 months. Some not satisfied, they want to practice more. From the early morning, you wake up and till midnight, you practice continuously. So you have been practicing it for many hours, many weeks, many months. And so yogis are especially very rich in the treasures. So all the yogis here are practicing vipassana meditation or mindfulness or satipatthana meditation. And so yogi are very rich. And here is we are learning Chetana, Kusala Chetana, volitional activities, Bhavana, the best Chetana, the best volition. One noting, one Chetana, Kusala Chetana, wholesome, Sankhara, good karma, the best karma. You are developing, you are accumulating. So yogi should be very pleased with their practice. With the practice of Satipatthana, we are developing this kinds of Kusala Sankhara, wholesome volitional activities. So yogi should be very pleased. So we have to stop our discourse for today by practicing vipassana meditation by accumulating kusala sankhara, bhavana sankhara, continuously and meticulously by noting, rising, falling, sitting, touching, seeing, hearing, smelling, stretching, bending, continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So